Welcome, everyone, to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rants alongside Tommy Krysan. TK coming to you from Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. And I am at the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Studios presented by LaBerge Casino. The Barstool Sportsbook, it's happening. The Edge Lounge, it's happening all at LaBerge Casino. By the way, Edge Lounge Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Live music, live entertainment. Go check it out. Tommy, a little bit to get to. One, we're going to put a bow on the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, as it was a great weekend up in Natchitoches. They all are this year. Just the class, the 12 people that were inducted into Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, 10 Hall of Famers, 2 DSA Distinguished Service Award winners. We're just all class acts. Everybody from the Eli Mannings to the Paul Maneris to the Wendell Davises to the Walter E. Maharas, who may have had the best story of them all. You name it. It was a magical 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Natchitoches. A lot of people pitched in and helped and made it possible and worked hard for those guys to have, what Paul Maneri called, a memory of a lifetime. His whole family was there, and it was just, Skip Burtman was there, Ron Maestri was there, Burt Jones was there, Tommy Hodson, Jake Delhomme, you name it. They were all there, plus many, many more. Baton Rouge Rougarou, didn't look good, didn't look like it was going to happen, but they did make it into the playoffs. And the Rougarou, we have a home playoff game tomorrow, Tuesday, August 1st. It's the one and only postseason game of the year, so we hope everyone comes out and supports. Cheers on the Rougarou. It's game 1 of a 3-game series. Game 2 and 3 will be on the road in Texas against the Brazos Valley Bombers. So come on out, cheer loudly, bring the friends and family. You've been hearing about the Rougarou, or you've been to a game. We haven't been home in over a week, so come on by next Tuesday or tomorrow. Tuesday, August 1st, 7 p.m. Gates open at 6. The Rougarou have a home playoff game. You can make a difference in winning and losing. And who knows? It's been a rough last couple of weeks. We've kind of limped down the finish line, but won a big game on the road. It came down to last night, Tommy. All these games, 48 regular season games, came down to not only the last game, but extra innings. And the Rougarou won in the 10th after they kind of let it get away from them in the 9th. And they will be hosting a home playoff game against the Brazos Valley Bombers, who pretty much for the most of the 16 years have been the class team of the league. They are the number 1 seed in the playoffs. Rougarou are the number 4 seed in the playoffs. Tommy will tell us some NFL and Major League Baseball news. But TK, talk about the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame for a minute. Did you watch? Did you see it? I know it's going to be, obviously, you're going to talk about the YouTube link and how folks can watch the ceremony. Programming note, mark your calendar. It's going to be special. Tuesday, August 15th at 7 o'clock, a 2-hour special on LPB, Louisiana Public Broadcasting. Tuesday, August 15th, a 2-hour special about the Hall of Fame. Natchitoches, this particular class, special interviews in studio with Maneri and Emma Woodruff and Dee Dee Bro, past Hall of Famer. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah, really. I got to check out a lot of it. It was spectacular. And it's all on the YouTube channel. Look for Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame YouTube. Subscribe to that channel. And then check it out at your convenience. You can watch part of it, pause it, play it later. Lots of stuff. I did put in a bid on the silent bid auction. I didn't win, but hey, that's part of it. I did my little bit to try to drive the price up. But what a wonderful event. All the things that I saw from the social media posts to the clips that I saw. Man, like Paul Maneri said, and I'm sure everybody else, what a weekend. It's not like you go to Natchitoches at 4 o'clock on Saturday and they got the thing at 7 o'clock and you go home the next morning. It's a multi-day event with the bowling, the concerts. I mean, so much going on. People need to mark it on their calendar for next summer. Right now, the class will be announced, September or so. They'll announce who's going in 2024. So you got to make plans now to do that. It's a fun bunch of days in Natchitoches. It also includes Alexandria a little bit. So what a weekend. I know you and many, many, many people worked very hard to pull that off.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, we had the celebrity bowling event in Alexandria, which is one of the more fun events every year. And, it's a little bit underrated as people get caught up in all the other events. But Alexandria throws a good show. And the great thing about the Hall of Fame induction, Tommy, is with all the events, it's not just this year's class, which, the 2023 class, next year, 2024 class, which little birdie told me maybe Drew Brees might be in. But it's the fact that a lot of past Hall of Famers come and other celebrities come, and you get a chance to interact with them as well. It means a lot to them to be there, and that's really special. All right, we move on. Rougarou land, you were in Lafayette last night, taking on our big rival, the Acadiana Cane Cutters, in the relief windows I-10 Basin battle. You and Jeff Palermo called it on ESPN Radio, the game last night. If you'd have told me before the game that there would be 17 runs and 30 hits and all, I'd have said you're crazy. It's going to be a 2-1 game or something like that. But it was a wild game. Obviously, we can smile today because the Rougarou won. They went to the playoffs. Had we lost, we wouldn't be feeling that way. But, I mean, I think I saw a little bit of everything last night.
Really was. I mean, Cane Cutters got 3 runs in the bottom of the first. Okay, boom, a lot of baseball left. We all know that story. But, I mean, look, Ronnie, both coaches, a lot of pitching changes because it was win or pack up the stuff for the summer, So probably a few more pitching changes than normal, but also some of the defensive plays made by both teams. Stornello, the catcher, threw out 2 guys stealing base. The catcher Turnage for Cane Cutters made an unbelievable catch on a popped-up bunt behind home plate. Their right fielder, Gaspar, with a running catch that maybe saved the game at the moment for sure. But, the Rougarou just kept coming. And the bats weren't real live first 3-4 innings, but then they woke it up, hung that 4 spot on the board, tied it at 4-4, went up 8-4. Bottom of the ninth, they can feeling pretty good, up 4 runs. It gets away from the Rougarou, and credit to the Cane Cutters there, and it ties at 8-8. So then you go to the 10th inning with the international tiebreaker rule, and they get the run. They go up 9-8, and then they had to hold off the Cane Cutters in the bottom of the 10th. By the way, at the bottom of the ninth, the winning would have been the walk-off winning run. The Cane Cutters tried to score on a pass ball. Not as much room at Bobacher Field behind home plate as there is at Pete Goldsby Field. And the ball ricocheted right to Stornello, and the guy was out by 15 feet. But, I don't blame them for trying, but because that would have walked off the game, sent them to the playoffs, sent the Rougarou home. But credit to Rougarou, Stornello, and the team for getting it done. Lots of good plays, double plays in the game, some caught stealing, some pickoffs. It was a little bit of everything, 3 hours and 45 minutes, but it was jam-packed with baseball, good baseball.
Yeah, it was wild. And so, playoff game tomorrow night, 7:00 at the Pete. Be there, be square. And look, the season resets in the postseason. It's a strange format, and they do it so that it doesn't drag on too far, so that they can wrap up and guys can get back to home and get back to their schools and things like that. But it's a 2 out of 3, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 out of 3 series. Of course, as I mentioned, the first game at home and the other 2 on the road. And then if you win it, it's just a 1-game winner-take-all championship. So it's kind of like Skip Bertman's national championships. In Omaha, you play this big double elimination tournament, but when you got to the finals, it was a 1-game winner-take-all on CBS, and they did that to grow the game of baseball, to get that big national brand, that linear TV exposure. And then when they realized that, once the game got big enough and they didn't need to, they realized, hey, what's best for the game is a 2 out of 3 series on, for the finals, which is what it's been for the last 20 years. But the first 5 national championships that Skip Bertman won, it was winner take all, 1 game. And quite honestly, Tommy, had it been a 2 out of 3 series, they probably wouldn't have won all 5 national championships. And so that's kind of how the TCL does it as well. But we know it'll be Saturday in Texas. The finals will be Saturday in Texas for the championship game, and hopefully the Rougarou will be there. All right. NFL camp is open. Saints are doing stuff. There's big news. Sean Payton's pissing off Aaron Rodgers. Those two hate each other, it looks like, or at least Aaron Rodgers looks like he might hate Sean Payton. Major League Baseball, giant trade that happened with the Texas Rangers. Your team, tell us about it.
Get Max Scherzer from the Mets. He had to approve the trade. He did. The Rangers hit the ball. Their run differential's high. They can score a lot of runs, but they had to shore up the pitching staff. DeGrom's been out for the year for many months. Evaldi went on the IL just the other day. So, they had to get Scherzer, and I don't think they're done. The deadline's 5:00 Louisiana time tomorrow. So there could be a lot more movement. I mean, the Cardinals are unloaded. The Mets are unloaded. I mean, lots of trades. Scherzer being the biggest name right now, but I think that's going to change. Ohtani's going to stay with the Angels. They got a couple of guys from the Rockies. So the Rangers are definitely trying to make a run. Bruce Bochy, he won 3 World Series with the Giants. He's got this Rangers team in a spot nobody thought they would be, including myself, before the season started. So it's going to be fun to find out what happens before the trade deadline tomorrow. And then, Ronnie, all the wild card divisional races are pretty close, except for the Braves are kind of running away with their division. But it's going to be a fun August and September for baseball fans. And I know everybody's brain is going to shift to football, and I get that. But I can promise you I'll be paying attention to baseball, as will some others.
Couple things. One, talking about the Braves, Ron Washington, who's in Rangers. Ron Washington led the Rangers 2 World Series and won one with the Braves as an assistant. Missed his first games as a coach. Missed 2 games to go be with go and get inducted into Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. He was chomping at the bit when I saw him. I talked to him Saturday night afterwards. He's like, "Hey, get back to work tomorrow." This is a guy who's a lifetime guy. He had a wonderful time. Everybody had great support. But, I mean, that's a big deal for that guy who just loves the game of baseball. I learned something about him, which this is incredible, Tommy. Ron Washington, who's from New Orleans, a beloved coach, just, and an excellent teacher of playing the, infield. That's what he's known for. He's a tireless worker. He has some tremendous drills. He teaches the infield play better than anybody. That's his MO. But when a lot of times, he doesn't do this every day, but a lot of times when he works with young players, or just not young players, he just works with players. He's 1:00. Hey, all right, Bobby, you meet me at 1:00 at the field. We're going to do these drills. We're going to do these special things before batting practice in the game later tonight. He will a lot of times offer to he'll work with the other team too. So if the Braves are playing the Yankees, and the Yankees infielders want to work with Ron, if he's doing special stuff outside of team activity, he'll work with them before the game. So it's not uncommon to see Ron Washington out there on the field working with not only his players, but also the other team's players, hours before game time, which is incredible. And nobody has a problem with it because he's such a good guy. He considers himself, he said, an ambassador of the game of baseball, not just coach of the Atlanta Braves. He said, that's my job, but I'm also an ambassador of the game of baseball. And he just wants people to get better and grow the brand.
Well, like I told you the other day, many years ago, I was at Joe Sherman's office, Delgado Baseball, and Coach Walsh stopped by, and just the 3 of us sat there for about 30 minutes, actually. And I'll never forget it. It was so much fun because as a kid, I'd always heard his name growing up in New Orleans and playing out at Kirsch Rooney all the time. You heard about Ron Washington. So I was lucky enough to spend a little time with him. I don't guess he would remember that, but I certainly do.
Ohtani off the trade market. I mean, everybody thought that Ohtani would probably be traded and it would be a blockbuster deal and then get 1 million players for him. Angels walked it back. Why'd they do that? And what's your thoughts?
Well, I think they made a commitment to their fans. They haven't been in the playoffs since 2014, and they made a commitment that, we're not going to trade Ohtani. We're going to try to make a run. They're 4 games out of the wild card spot right now. That certainly can be made up with 2 months left in the season. They've added a couple of guys from the Rockies. I'm sure they'll have more activity tonight and tomorrow. They're basically – now, here's the snag. He's a free agent when this season concludes. But November, whatever, he becomes a free agent. So, if they make the playoffs or make some kind of playoff run, then their chances of re-signing him are pretty strong. But I'll tip my hat to the owner of the Angels saying, look, I'm not going to be the guy that traded away arguably the greatest guy to ever play the game of baseball, especially if he can sustain this over time. And we're going to try to do what we can. They got to get Trout back. He's on the IL. And they're going to try to make a run. I mean, the American League's pretty tough, but they're going to try to make a run, and then I guess they'll worry about signing Ohtani after this happens. Now, if they don't make the playoffs, he probably wears a different uniform next year, but at least they're going to give it the old try.
I think he probably wears a different uniform no matter what next year. And I think actually it's a brilliant move by the owner to save money because they're going to offer him, a giant contract. I mean, they're going to offer him what Otani is going to, I think, is probably going to end up with one of the giant brands. He's going to end up with the Yankees. He's going to end up with, Red Sox. He's going to end up with the Cubs. He's going to end up with one of these giant markets. Dodgers, right? But if you're the Angels, you're now the owner is, he's great with his fans. His fans love it. He's all in. He wants to win. And then he's going to offer Otani a ton of money. He's going to offer him, he's not going to lowball him, and they're going to make it public. They're going to say, hey, we offered him, $40 million a year, $50 million a year, whatever the number. Otani's going to have to turn it down. And he probably will, to go to one of these other giant brands and get $50 million, but play for the Yankees in New York City. So, and then you're going to be like, hey, we tried. And you know what? He just saved $500 million because he didn't have to do the Trout deal and lock him up for a decade and all that. And then he's got a free pass to be bad next year because, hey, we wanted Otani to make the playoff run. We gave you that. So I think it's for an organization that just has had bad fortune, hasn't been able to get it right. And even though they've tried over the last 10 years, you think about all the players going back to Hamilton when they gave him the big deal, they have tried with Pujols and others, and it just hasn't worked out. Guys go there and they all of a sudden suck, or they go there and they get hurt. I mean, it's one thing after another. But with Otani, at least they're giving themselves a shot. And I don't think making the playoffs is going to really make a difference or not. I think he's gone, but it'll be fun to see what happens.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. It's a business move by the owner of the Angels. Now, there's a lot of strings attached, but it's still a business move, all about the money.
White Sox, my boy Pete Griffol's organization, they have been hampered by injuries. They had 3 starting pitchers and best relievers out the first week of the season. They've had trouble. Lance Lynn, their ace that they've got all kind of money in, has been terrible this year. The former Ole Miss Rebel who had some comments in the locker room the 3 weeks into the season. He got upset at the Latin players with their music choices and everything else, and it just decimated the locker room. He's given up more home runs than anyone in the league this year. They are just unloading players left and right. So are the Cardinals. It's a hot mess for those two.
Yeah, and Lynn's now with the Dodgers, and Giolito's with the Angels. So that's one of the pieces of the Angels. I've always liked Giolito as a pitcher. It's a mess in the White Sox. The Cardinals, I mean, they haven't had a losing record in many, many, many years. And they're they would unload Arenado, and then they say, no, we're not going to. I mean, he's perhaps the best third baseman in baseball, or one of the best. So it's going to be fun with the 5 o'clock deadline tomorrow. And I suspect there could be, trades right at the 11th hour, right before the deadline tomorrow, because I'm sure the phones are burning up in both directions today.
What are you hearing about New Orleans, about Carr, Jimmy Graham, all that with the Saints?
Well, it's a long shot for Graham to make it. Ed Daniels wrote a piece at CrescentCitySports.com, and I'm hearing rave reviews about Derek Carr, his leadership, the off-the-field stuff. I got a friend that's at practice today. She's going to call me tonight, tell me all about it. It's going to be interesting. I think there's some excitement about the Saints. One, the rest of the NFC South is terrible, in worse shape than the Saints. Over and under 9.5 wins. Hunter McCann and I talked about it on Sports Shorts Radio this past Saturday. You got to bet the over right there. That's the smart play right now today. And look, Ronnie, the Saints' first 9 games against teams that weren't in the playoffs last year, they don't play a team with a better quarterback than Derek Carr, unless maybe you call Trevor Lawrence with Jacksonville better. I mean, the schedule is hugely soft for the Saints. It's you can get through this thing and win more, 10 games or more. But regardless of their record, if they win the NFC South, they're in the playoffs. So a lot of reasons to be optimistic for the Saints. Now, I know everybody's going to say, well, we'll see. And that's true. We got to let it play out. But I think Saints fans should be excited.
The one thing I will say is that the one thing that I will say about the New Orleans Saints is that, look, I think having that veteran quarterback in the NFL, and I have always been a Derek Carr fan. I always felt like, and sometimes the P word is the death nail, and that's the potential word. I always felt like, had potential to be better, potential. and he was one of those guys that he'd look brilliant for a month, and then all of a sudden it wouldn't. But we always blamed it on the fact that he had a different coach, that the organization was terrible, just no consistency. So now he goes to an organization that's one of the most stable in the league, and as you mentioned, in a conference that's ripe for the picking. He goes from maybe the toughest conference in football over there with the AFC West to now maybe one of the easiest. So if it ain't going to happen for Derek Carr this year, it's never going to happen. I mean, this is it. You're going to see if they're going to get value on that contract right now, because they have got to go win. If he can't get it done this year, if he stays healthy the whole year, if he can't get it done and win 10 games and get in the playoffs this year, then he's not going to be the guy for, they're going to have to, figure it out again.
Yeah, I agree completely. If Michael Thomas is healthy and, you got Taysom Hill, the Swiss Army knife. So, I mean, there's lots of reasons to be optimistic. They'll have 3 exhibition games coming up here in a couple of weeks. I mean, heck, Ronnie, tomorrow's August 1. So, football's here. I mean, it's crazy. You know
what tomorrow is also? Tomorrow is the first day of August, which means you're going to buy Netflix and get the 30-day subscription so that, we can get rid of it at the end of the 30 days and not have to have the renewal. But you told me now full swing is in your future. The whole series, Formula 1, all these great sports documentaries that are on Netflix that Tommy hasn't watched them all, but Hunter McCann's all in. I've been screaming about him for months that it'll change your life.
All right, I'm gonna take care of that tomorrow. I got it on my calendar, August 1. I got Netflix in all capital letters on my calendar, so I'll update you that tomorrow night at the old Rougarou game. How about that? I'll let you know if I pushed the button yet.
By the way, this Saturday morning on Sports Church Radio from 10 to noon on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, Joel Davis's good friend Patrick Mahomes is going to join us on the air probably around 10:40. We'll talk to Patrick Mahomes, and he'll give us a little update on how camp's going, how the quarterback, the documentary that's on Netflix, that he's a big star in. He's going to tell us about that and what his offseason has been like. So you don't want to miss that. That'll be about 10:40 on Saturday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Spread the word. All right, TK, tomorrow night, Baton Rouge Rougarou in effect at 7 o'clock. You can watch Tommy and on the call on TexasCollegiateLeague.com, or just go to the brrougarou.com and click on the schedule, and you can click on the watch app to watch it, the live stream. But we want you to be there, 7 o'clock, first pitch. Tell us about Court Street on the way out.
Hey, red beans and rice with the fried pork chops, the lunch special today. They got all their lunch specials posted for the week at Facebook and Instagram. Go check it out. Jason and the staff do a wonderful job here. 805 Court Street in Port Allen. Plenty of parking available, just a couple of minutes over the Mississippi River Bridge. If you work in downtown Baton Rouge, you can get here very quickly, then get back to work. Lunch, breakfast, lunch, dinner, Court Street Cafe. Check them out. Keep up with all the lunch specials, the dinner specials. Full service bar, you can see right behind me if you want a beverage on the way home after work, something like that. And, of course, they'll have football games on this fall. Court Street Cafe in Port Allen.
All right, for Tommy Krysan, I'm Ronnie Rance. Please like and share this video. We will see you Wednesday morning for more Sports Shorts Daily. Until then, go Rougarou.